my sages of the pages. And we're coming to you from Big Bear, California in the haunted or spooky season. And so we are going to be doing a little crafting as we talk about writing craft and also about Halloween inspirations or spooky story inspirations and how it's not Halloween until we do whatever it is we do. I'm Sarah.
I'm Molly.
I'm Teresa.
I'm Morgan.
And this is new for us to record like this. So
there's a camera, there's no people, I can't see myself. I'm like, how is this coming across?
I can sort of see you guys. Yes. Yeah.
It's coming.
So, as Sarah said, we are crafting and crafting today. And so for the crafting, our lovely Teresa has made us some spooky cookies. If she wants to show us, what outlines do we have here?
Oh, we have a spooky haunted house. We have a spooky ghost. And a friendly pumpkin. Just in case we didn't want to do spooky.
What if I wanted to make a friendly ghost and a spooky pumpkin?
I don't care.
Do you? So we've been talking about, as one does during the October season, the various scary stories or Halloween stories that really inspire us, and or that make this season the season. And Morgan, would you like to kick us off with "It's Not Halloween Until"?
It's not Halloween until you watch a scary movie.
It's not Halloween until you decorate your house.
It's not Halloween until Halloween. Let me rephrase. It's not spooky season until October. None of this, like, September spookiness. No. It's October spooky month.
See, now I start planning my decorations in July. So Halloween's my favorite holiday. It was something that my grandma and I were all about, and she always had the spookiest house on the block, and something I aspire to do someday. So for me, it's not Halloween until I start getting the craft I've been planning and putting together all the decorations, start seeing those go up.
I like that.
Also, I mean, there's obviously the classic films you have to watch.
Right.
And for me, that is...
There's so many.
I think there's so many. It's probably Casper the Friendly Ghost. I love that movie.
I like it.
I don't know why. It's my go-to.
So mine is Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
And I just like that one. And it's so interesting to me because, Nightmare Before Christmas, when it came out, it was very much a with audiences and everything else, and it really didn't pick up until 15, 20 years ago, and then Disney hardcore embraced it.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do for trick or treat for Halloween night? What is your tradition?
We usually put on a spooky movie. Mm-hmm. Nothing too intense or slashery, because we know that there will be little kids, or in theory there's little kids coming to the door. Last couple years have been Sans with the children, or Sans children. I particularly like either a Vincent Price movie or
Fred Hitchcock.
Hitchcock's a little intense for the little kids if they're coming up. But Hitchcock is great. I do love that. Or the movies are great. Hitchcock was creepy. And I also love the original 13 Ghosts, which was from, I think, the 50s, which hardly anybody knows about, but it was such a good creepy movie. And I think it's hokey when you watch it today, but it's just a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make a comment about how the fact that we prepared so hard, but we didn't cut the tip off this thing, so I can't use black. I just want little black stripes on my pumpkin.
I know, I wanted them on my house.
Will somebody get up and get a...
Sarah, as I'm
Sarah, get the scissors.
Go get scissors.
They're in the drawer.
And the creepy house.
The creepy house doesn't have a lot of things. Okay, let me tell you the most haunted thing about this house, and these three will disagree with me, but I persist that this is the worst. There are, in the kitchen, a lot of lids to pots. Like, so many lids.
I took
5 or 6 lids.
Your, proclamation tool.
You were like
different sizes. There are no pots. There's lids to pots, but no pots themselves. Where did the pots go? It is the mystery of the disappearing pot. But again, there are lids.
Is this just food coloring?
This triggered.
Yeah, that's just food coloring.
The dog keeps taking all of our napkins. and now I'm like covered
This
in
is just
frosting.
food
and
It's just
whatnot.
those are just food colors.
Okay.
This is green though.
I think the
That's what you want.
spookiest part of this house is the heater, which when it goes off in the middle of the night goes for
And
about
it's right at the
10
bottom
minutes.
of the stairs.
And
And
you
it
think someone's
hisses.
coming in, and it hisses.
Well, we had to turn the one off
Good
upstairs.
lord, I just got shot.
I had to turn the one off upstairs because I don't even know what sound that was, but it couldn't have been good. And then we froze to death.
Here you go. I got it.
Thank you.
Figuratively.
Okay, figuratively, we froze to death.
Oh my
Not
goodness.
literally.
I just noticed. So we have brought our dog, and by our dog I mean my dog.
She's
Minnow.
communicatively now our dog.
She's kind of sitting under the table. She took one of the paper towel. We
Two.
got some paper towel napkins, and she just took them off laps
Yes.
and then shredded them under the table. So
That is the jingle jangle you hear in the background.
It's not our heads. Although it might be. Alright, back to Halloween night. Oh, I'll say what my tradition is. So we are always big fans of trick-or-treaters. And we get a ton. Every place we've lived at, we get a ton of trick-or-treaters. So we always drag the fire pit into the front yard because of the dogs. And you know, when the kids ring the doorbell, knock on the doors, they go crazy, and then we have to fight them off and try to open up the door. So we just sit in our front yard with a fire pit and we hand out candy. And last year, my husband is hugely into baseball cards. He handed out baseball cards.
That's amazing.
ooh.
Yeah, it was kind of fun.
That's nice.
Yeah, and we talked about doing a crazy shoot thing because last year was a pandemic, but I just didn't have the patience. But my plan, because I'm always big on plans, was to be upstairs and be like, children, children,
It's very loud.
children. I'll go quieter.
Sorry if you're listening to this.
Stand on the X. On the X, and you get candy. Don't worry about the blood spot. Stand on the X. On the X, darling. On the X. Yes, yes, perfect. Candy, 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 candy. And then my husband would say the candy down. Because that sounded like a lot of fun to me.
Huh?
Molly's whispering about me behind my back.
I'm not
now.
whispering. I'm whispering.
Actually, it's next to your shoulder. I
I'm
think.
looking at Sarah's cookie here.
Don't steal my napkin.
Yeah, you just gotta leave it on the table because she's a napkin thief.
I like it. It's a
You
house
guys,
with that.
just
with
could you,
eyes.
are you done or no? No, there's more.
I'll keep going, but
Okay,
it
keep
makes
going.
you settle.
So I'm gonna show you guys my cookie, and then later you'll see Sarah's. So this is my first cookie. It's a little pumpkin cookie. I went very direct. It's a pumpkin. I made it a pumpkin. For my Halloween tradition, my husband and I recently, and I say recently, and I mean 3 years ago, started living in a house. Before it was always apartments, and there's never trick-or-treaters with apartments, really. Not never, but hardly ever.
Baby, you can't have my napkin.
And so we moved into a house, and I got all excited. I was like, yes, trick-or-treaters. Especially because growing up I lived in a rural area, and there weren't trick-or-treaters because it was rural. There weren't enough houses, enough people. So I was all excited. And then we never get trick-or-treaters. So we've just moved to a new place, and I'm really hopeful. I'm like, yes, trick-or-treaters. Hopefully they will come, and I'll finally get to have that experience in my life.
No.
Morgan, do you have any Halloween tradition?
I have a Halloween coolness story. One of the coolest Halloweens of my life. My husband was in a wedding, and on Halloween night on the beach,
Wow.
and they did the most incredibly beautiful Gothic
Give me 1
wedding as the sun was setting, and we all came dressed as part of the Gothic wedding.
Oh, I love that.
It was so beautiful, and the men wore right out of, this is gonna age me or date me, but Interview with the Vampire, the vest look.
Yeah.
Yum.
So they were so handsome, and the women did a goth look, and she did this beautiful spin-off of a white wedding dress, but of course she did it black with red piping throughout, and it was just absolutely amazing. And then after the wedding, we stayed on the beach and turned it into a monster mash. And everybody danced and partied. And then we took our kids after that. This was in Florida. We took our kids and went trick-or-treating in a local neighborhood. And Molly, you're the one who made me think of it, because we just took our kids and went around, and they were so excited. There were a bunch of younger people who had never had trick-or-treaters. And because we didn't know where we were, so we were just having fun with it. And they gave the kids, like, they had a huge pillowcase. Each kid had a pillowcase full of candy by the time we were done. And it was just the coolest Halloween ever. And I think Halloween weddings should become more of a thing.
That'd be fun.
So Halloween's always been a big tradition with my family, and my grandma, like I was saying, used to host she would do Halloween Rite, but she also did Halloween parties, and that's something I really want to continue. And my first year when I moved in with my boyfriend, we had a really fun Halloween party, and we had like a smoke machine going in the house, which we realized quickly was a terrible idea.
I wasn't going to tell you that, but I was like, I wonder how this went.
It quickly went bad, but it was great. It was funny. And our smoke alarm was like, your house is on fire. And we're like, no, it's Halloween. But then the pandemic happened, and we had to skip the last year, and we're skipping this year too. So I don't really see it as a loss so much as it gives me more time to plan for next Halloween, to quote Jack Skellington. Just can't wait until next Halloween. He's got some new ideas.
Oh, yeah. That's really going to make him scream.
Thank you.
Ooh, let's sing together.
By God, I'm really going to give it all my might.
No, I lost it.
So we promised that we would talk about crafts while we crafted. So I think if you hadn't, sorry.
What has happened?
I looked at Sarah's cookie again.
Oh my lord! Wow.
This is going to be a reveal, guys, at the end. If you hadn't noticed, it's a spooky theme. And so I think we want to start with if we each have maybe a favorite story that we like this time of year. And I will start to give these guys more time to think. I actually recently just read Cemetery Boys, which is mostly actually centered around Dia de los Muertos. And I really, really enjoyed it. It wasn't so much, we think so much about spooky and scary, but there's also the element of remembering people who have passed, remembering our family and our loved ones, welcoming them back into our lives, which I really, really love that aspect of this season. And I really, really enjoyed that story. If you looking for something new to read, you want to get into maybe like Latinx culture, read about Dia de los Muertos, that kind of thing, I highly recommend that book.
Okay, now I'm done with that cookie.
I don't think it's Halloween unless I read Poe.
Oh, yeah.
I like to
good,
get Poe out again, always this time of year, and rediscover the brilliance.
I love House of Usher. I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
one of my favorite
That's a good one.
dark, spooky stories. And I like to read that, not every year, but I do like to read that pretty regularly around this time.
Yeah, what's your favorite? What's everybody's favorite Poe? Follow the House of Ushers.
I like Mask of Red Death.
The Mask of Red Death is amazing. Really
Well,
well
and
written.
it's
I like The Road to
kind
El
of-
Dorado.
It's really.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's Poe.
I don't know that one.
Oh, I like the Halloween tree.
I'm not familiar with it.
It is by. Crap. Now we're gonna have to edit that one too.
I know, I want to look up Usher, or,
The El Dorado one.
yeah.
The reason I found out about that one was because Disneyland decorates a tree at Halloween, and it's one tree in Frontierland, and it turns out that it's based on a book. It's by Ray Bradbury. I had to double check that one.
Ooh.
It's really good. Yeah, it's really, really well done. And it's a short read, so I highly recommend it.
So the one I was saying wasn't The Road to El Dorado, it's just El Dorado.
El Dorado.
By Poe.
What's it about? I haven't read that one.
It's kind of like Don Quixote.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a poem, but it's really interesting. I highly recommend it.
My favorite
It's
poem
short.
of all time is Poe, A Dream Within a Dream.
It's a nice one.
But short story, horror-wise, I really am a big fan of Casca Amontillado, and then also I think The Black Cat is really an amazing critique on both mental, like, I don't know, mental instability, and then also like environmental factors like alcoholism and personification. I don't know, I really like The Black Cat. I really like the symbolism in it.
Black, don't you?
How about the green?
The green.
I'll take the black though.
Okay, give me 1 minute.
So, with a spooky story, what makes a spooky story good? What makes you want to come back to it time after time? Because so often, right, like a suspense in a movie, once you know what the mystery is, once you know what's happening, it loses some of the charm.
Yes.
But sometimes in a story it doesn't, right?
Right.
So what makes it last? What makes you want to read it time after time?
So that to me is one of the most challenging parts of writing, and I'm going to say spooky horror. So writing the, like, what's going to happen, you know, the thumps up the stairs. The Paranormal Activity, the first Paranormal Activity, I felt like did such a fantastic job with that, with this idea of, like, what is that sound, and what is this, and what are these footsteps? That primal, I don't know what's going on, but I'm scared feeling. That I think, and then what happens is that the reveal happens and you're like, oh yeah, that's scary, but not as scary as not knowing. And I think that's one of the big challenges we have as authors, is to try to figure out how to keep that, like, suspenseful, ooey gooey, like, yeah, feeling going, and not losing it on the big reveal. Because how many times have you watched a Halloween movie and been like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I'm so scared, oh my god, I'm so scared, what's gonna happen? Oh.
The monster reveal.
Thrillers.
Cool.
I just read a YA thriller that I felt that way about. I got all the way to the end, and
you were like, oh.
I read it fast. It was a burner, and I was excited. I got to the end, and I was so disappointed in, like, the murder motive, and so it kind of killed the book for me.
For me, I think pacing's a really big part of whether it's a good horror story or not, or something that's going to scare you. And I agree with Teresa about not knowing. Because our own imagination is going to make it 1,000 times worse. It's the heater going off in the middle of the night. We're like, no, it's a serial killer. You know,
I didn't go serial killer. I was like, we are definitely being haunted.
Yeah. So there you go. There's two very different
interpretations
of something's going to kill us in the middle of the night, based on something that we can't see, even though logically we know it's just the dang heater.
No, we know it's a raccoon who has rabies that's going to break in.
No, it's a deer.
It's a deer.
Yeah. A deer, yes!
Deer.
Everything's a deer.
Just because you thought a donkey was a deer.
Just ask me, apparently.
So, so for me, it's pacing is really important, and a later reveal, if you're going to reveal the monster, or even keeping it sort of like this cosmic horror where you don't know what it is. And I was introduced to that, well, I learned to really, let me do that all over again. I recently interviewed Tim Mendes, who is a horror author, on Cheers Dears, and he talked about
I don't have a napkin for you.
What is cosmic horror in such a great way in the intro of his book, The Pseudopod That Rocks the Cradle. And what it boiled down to was the fear of the unknown. It's not the monster in the corner. Well, it could be, but is it? It's not a person, a serial killer. It's something else that can't be defined at first go. And I just love that idea because it goes back to our imagination, making it so much worse.
So does that take us into Released?
It does take us into Released.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay, cool. So, Sarah and I, as part of No Bad Books Press, we just released an anthology titled Released, which is about, it's a horror anthology about something got out. And it's so interesting because we weren't expecting to get so many horror submissions, but when we did, and we got some really wonderful dark horror ones, we realized that we really had to turn this anthology into a horror one. And how many times can I say horror? All the time.
Ooh, we need to play a drinking game.
Right?
Get the Baileys.
But what's so fascinating about that is even though we were like, all right, it's going to be horror, we had such a wide range.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have like the ones that stick with you where you're like, oh, I'm done with that one. And then you're thinking about it going, oh, that's interesting. Like Annabelle.
Yeah.
And then you've got like the immediate like, oh my God, holy cow, what's going to happen? Like Liberation.
What do you need?
Go ahead.
Sorry. No,
Black
you're
would
fine.
be great. Thanks.
And then we've got kind of the ones that gradually build the tension up, like Missing Children.
Missing Children was very good tension.
Yeah. And so it's so interesting to see these spooky horror and all the different iterations of it. And Molly's, even though she was like, well, this really isn't horror, it is.
When you put it in a horror anthology, it gives it certain undertones.
It does, exactly.
And that's an interesting point, too,
Yeah.
of how, you know, just a little change like that. Because when we, like Tracy was saying, when we originally started planning released, we were going for like a fantasy sci-fi.
We kind of figured that's what we'd get.
And then we ended up getting horror, primarily horror, and it was interesting how the majority of the stories we got, even though we didn't really tell anybody a genre, which we learned is something we should have done.
Yeah, we'll do better.
Everybody did kind of lean towards darker themes, darker undertones.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that was a really good project for us to be a part of because we got to experience so many different authors' voices and their expressions, which I really enjoyed. It was probably one of my favorite parts of that process.
I agree. It was really fun. All right, are we almost?
No.
Oh, all right.
I'm making art.
We're arting over here, okay?
Arting. All righty.
Well, if you want to show off
Artist
some of your
verb.
cookies, we can continue to work.
Oh,
I
all
still
right.
have a whole nother cookie to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, they'll buy us time.
All right, I will do my best to buy as much time as possible.
Tell us the tale.
Is there a story behind each of your cookies?
No. Is there a story behind yours?
Sure.
Go
You
for it.
can make a story.
Sure.
Oops.
I haven't named him yet,
Steve.
but you can clearly see that there is a monster who has become one with the house. So he started out in the floorboards and he's taking it over, and now he's become his face is
Oh.
the window, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to keep himself alive, he's literally becoming one with the building.
That's a good story.
But he's a kind monster, I think.
Yeah, as one would be.
So yeah, I feel like at Halloween, when you come to his house, he gives you a fun kind of scare. He's like a story that makes you feel good, even though it's a little bit of suspense and horror. So that's my cookie.
I like it. All right, I will try.
This is like, oh.
All right. So again, the house. It's got, lovely blue door. It's got lovely light in the windows, but there's something hiding in the attic, and it's sitting out and staring at everybody.
It's always the attic.
Oh well, yeah. Well, it doesn't. This cookie doesn't have a basement.
For us here, it would have been the loft.
Still
Would
the
have been our
attic.
bedroom.
Ooh.
My house, are you done?
I'm done.
My house isn't done, but you can meet my ghost. His name is
Steve.
Clarence. His name is Clarence.
Okay.
He was born in a different time from us, but he loves to rock his bow tie and his polka dotted pants with suspenders.
I gotta see that. Oh,
Wait.
he's cute.
Mine is a girl. Oops.
Oh, she's cool.
So she can dance with Clarence.
Oh, wait.
No.
Dance.
No, Lawrence wants to date her.
Oh, Lawrence wants
Yeah,
to dance.
Lawrence would like to date her.
Mine's
Lawrence,
getting
Look
his
at
this.
eyes
his
are in the
face.
wrong space.
Yeah, well, he has an eye in his belly button because it's a magical portal into another world.
And a belly button.
In a belly button eye.
Well, Clarence is was a professional dancer, and now he solves ghost mysteries.
Nice.
That's his role, and he walks around in his cool outfits and solves mysteries because he's a ghost, so he can go through walls and collect clues.
I feel like that's because we watched Murder in the Building last
I think that
night.
is, yeah.
And
Only Murders in the Building.
that's a
Yeah.
connection to fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
So can I show my ghost?
Yes.
Yeah, show
He
your
just
ghost.
got his clothes on. All the sprinkles are gonna fall off when I lift him.
I like that he just got his clothes on. He was naked
Foundational.
before.
He was naked.
All of ours were naked before we gave him clothes, so it was very kind of us.
So my ghost is the prankster, and he likes to throw his little bits at everybody.
His bits
And he's actively sticking his tongue out. So I believe he is a poltergeist because they're
yes.
annoying and they don't go away.
Well, anyone that throws something is a poltergeist.
This is true.
So he throws sprinkles. So he brings joy
In his way.
in his way, or mess, depending
It's a
on your
mess.
attitude.
I'd be like, damn
Or-
it, ghost.
Or mess, and then joy to the animals that then eat the sprinkles.
Such as Molly's dog, who's
Yes.
gone missing, and now I'm worried.
I think she's under the table.
Nope.
Oh, she's causing problems somewhere, I'm sure.
She went upstairs.
She's just eating my clothes.
Oh no.
All right, on to our next.
Next cookie. Oh, do you want to show your pumpkin? I like your pumpkin. He's a happy pumpkin.
He's a Cookie Monster ripoff.
I love it.
So he just eats all the time, and
I like
know. Yeah, there he is.
I like it. Yeah, I just did a traditional pumpkin. Nothing too crazy, but traditional pumpkin.
You've already seen my traditional pumpkin, but now I added orange sprinkles. Ooh.
Which takes it to a new level.
It does
does,
take it to another
right?
level. I like it. It adds texture.
Level up.
So I saw mine as a canvas, like a moon, and a cloud going across it. So I had like a little werewolf hand or paw going across it, spilling the bloods. And that's my little pumpkin cookie.
All right, Morgan and I are out of cookies.
Yes.
I'm still working on one.
I can do my house now. So this is the one that Molly was cracking up at, which thus made me crack up. And come here. He is a monster house theme. And his eyes are the windows that are looking out at all of us, but we're also looking in. So that's kind of
It's a window to the soul.
windows to the souls.
I like it.
I'm almost done. Just adding some detail.
She's weaving a web.
We got competitive. You can tell.
I wanted to,
I like that one though. That's really good.
It is good.
put texture. There's a story.
Get your art in there.
Okay, I think the art is done.
So is the theme here that for good suspense writing, we need to add texture?
Ah, very nice
I love
word.
it.
Detail. I think, so my house has been taken over by a giant spider.
As good houses do.
And someone has fallen into the web and is...
Is the spider's name Steve?
It is now.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Steve, you're obsessed with Steve.
I really like this theme that we were talking about on one concept, one cookie, can take so many different forms. One theme, release, something got out, can take so many different forms. And for me, in a horror story or suspense story, there's joy in the unexpected. Joy is the wrong... I take satisfaction. I enjoy reading something that is unexpected for me. You know, like, what's behind the closet? You open the closet, there's nothing.
Right.
And then you turn around and that's when the ghost gets you.
that moment of,
Right?
it's okay. And
It's
then-
okay. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, it was nothing. It was just the heater. It wasn't somebody coming up the stairs to kill us.
Another thing I really liked about this, too, was, like you were saying, we all had the same canvas, and they were all different characters. And how, you know, each one has a different character, even though it's the same old house, it's something totally different for every single one of us. And I think that's something that's really good with horror, too, is oftentimes horror gets kind of dismissed as like a slasher, not a very good read. It's just an entertainment read. But I think there's a lot of really great horror out there, excuse me, that does do a lot of character development. And that's where we get so invested in it as an audience. And that, I think, is where it becomes even scarier when something's happening to the person you identify with. And that good, strong character building in a horror story, whether it's short or not, I think that just pulls us into the story, into the world, into the moment, into the scares all the more.
And setting.
Setting.
When you were talking about that, it made me think about why I love Stephen King.
Yes.
And I think about how he mix and matches settings and characters in such a novel way. So something that is so awesome to read about every story he does is he's going to set it in a unique place. He's going to match that place to a unique character and then give us novelty throughout. regardless of how you feel about his writing style. And I know that there's a lot of discussion about that in the writing communities.
There is, yeah.
I think there's.
But he's really good with setting. I agree. He's good with setting a good, nice tone.
Yeah.
And pace.
Yeah.
Something else that I think is really interesting and really key is power dynamic. Let me rephrase. So I think about horror video games, and it's the same kind of in stories. It's not scary when the main character knows what's going on and has the power to stop it right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's not scary if they, they're just like, oh, well, all I have to do is not believe in the ghost and the ghost will disappear. Or something like that. Like, there's usually, like, this power imbalance, like, you feel helpless. You don't know what to do. Like, you're just trying things you don't know. So I'm thinking of, like in video games, like Alan Wake. When you don't know, kind of, there's these shadows and they're kind of attacking you, and all you have is a flashlight.
Oh, yeah.
And gosh darn it, the batteries keep going dead. So you're constantly, like, you have a weapon, but it's not very good, and you're constantly having to try to find more batteries, and what are you doing? Or, like, if you're in, like, alien isolation, man, yeah, you have goals and you can get there, but that alien, if it finds you, you're gone.
So resource scarcity could be a way to add texture and suspense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
At this point, in case the cookies are far away from our camera here, we've taken pictures, so the cookies will come up on screen now.
Oh,
Wow! I've made editor Sarah work now. And thank you guys for joining us in our crafting
Crafting with the semi-sages.
Yeah, craft discussion with crafts. There's a
Crafty crafters.
crafty crafters. That's what we're going with now. It took us all episode to find a name. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments. Let us know if you want to see us be crafty crafters again, or you're like, you know what, that was one and done. I'm good, I'm good guys. Yeah. Otherwise, if they want to support us, what else can they do, guys?
They can send us an email to let us know how much they enjoyed or didn't enjoy this episode. Or if they have any questions or want to show us their crafts that they do.
I think so. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, they could do that at the semisages@gmail.com.
Semisages@gmail.com.
You got it. Discord's also probably the best place to get in touch with us. That is a great place to show us your cookies. Talk to us about your Halloween traditions. We'd love to hear it. I love hearing about what different people do on Halloween nights.
Pumpkinhead wants to know you better.
Oh.
See, he got a name. It was the end of the episode. No,
Steve?
No, Steve. Pumpkinhead wants to meet you on Discord.
By the way, I know like almost no Steves. I don't know why that name came to me.
All right.
All right.
Cheers to our
cheers to Halloween, everybody. Have a good one.
Cookie to eat.
I mean,
cheers.
Pumpkinhead.
Cheers.
You
Cheers.
got your pumpkin out. Very attractive.
It's a lot of sugar.
Cookies. I haven't had sprinkles in a very long time.
And you're like, it's a bit much.
I have mixed feelers about sprinkles.
It depends on the sprinkles.
They stick.
I used to like sprinkles and frozen yogurt. Sprinkles and gummy bears.
Ooh. And ice cream. Froyo.
I like the little hundreds and thousands, the teeny tiny little dots.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite. For
Now
sprinkles.
Now that I named him, I feel bad eating all of him.
My ghost suddenly looks so scared and terrified.
I kind of don't want to eat Clarence.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
He
Minnow
looks
will.
scared.
But if it's gonna be a horror.
Needs to be eaten.